Take a moment to close our eyes. We allow our body to soften into the floor. I want you to take a moment to bend your knees. Feel the curve of your low back. Notice how your hips rest on the floor. Notice how your shoulders rest on the floor. And feel how your breath moves through your body. Your nose, all the way down to the base of your ribs. And drawing our knees into our chest, give them a hug. Let's rock side to side, massaging the back of our hips, our low back, moving with core stability. Letting our head rock side to side with ease. And then come back to center. Let's place our hands on top of our knees. Draw our knees forward until our arms fully extend. Take our knees out wide, draw them in towards our shoulders, and then back and together. And then making nice big circles in the opposite direction. So each leg is moving in the opposite direction. Just finding movement through our hips and noticing how this also affects our low back. You can use your hands to assist the movement, or you can just use your arms as guides. And then the next time our knees make it into our chest, pause and reverse the direction. And then draw our knees back into our chest and give them a hug. Let's rock forward and back and flip over into an all fours position. From all fours, let's rock our hips side to side and our shoulders move in the opposite direction. And then come back to center. Spreading our fingers wide, curl our toes under. Let's lift our knees and draw our hips back. As we move into this short downward facing dog, I want you to really press your weight back into your lower body. So use your upper body as strength to push away while we lengthen from our heels all the way up to our sit bones. And then come forward, lowering our knees down. Keep our toes curled under. We're going to lift back up and do it again. Pressing back. Then come forward, lower our knees down. And then lift our knees up and press back. Continuing to flow, engaging our muscles slightly. So we're not engaging intensely. We're not building a lot of strength. We're just creating blood flow. And bringing our knees down, let's rock our hips side to side again. And coming back to center, let's grab a hold of our blocks, bring them to the front of our mat. And then we're going to come to standing at the front of our mat. As we find our standing position, inhale, sweep our arms up. Exhale, hinge forward from our hips and fold. Step our right foot back halfway, put our heel on the floor. And then I want you to raise your blocks up to level 3 if they're not already there. And keeping our back heel on the ground, we're going to round our back and lower our head. Attempt to straighten our front leg to what feels good for us. And then inhale, lift our chest, reach our heart forward. And exhaling, rounding our back, letting our head hang. Inhale, lift up, reach our heart forward. Exhale, lower and round. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower. Flowing with breath. Allowing our breath to slow down. Now we're keeping a static stretch through the back of our left thigh. But we're moving through our back, allowing it to be a little more dynamic. Finding a place where our low back has to work, and then it gets to let go. And it works, and then it lets go. And come up and hold. We're going to step our back foot forward and switch sides. The width of our feet stay hip width apart, but the length is only wide enough or long enough to be able to accommodate our heel having a firm stance on the floor. Front leg is as straight as comfortable for you. Reach your heart forward. Feel your back engage. And then lower down. Rise up nice and slow. And lower down. Rising up and lower down. Flow a couple more times. And lower down, shifting our way into our front foot, step our back foot forward, release our blocks off to the side and fold. Bending our knees, rise all the way up. Hands come together in front of our heart. Releasing our hands to our side. Let's walk our feet out a little bit wider. Then I want you to bend your knees, sink your hips back, take your arms out in front of you. And then on your next inhale, reach your right arm out to the side and back. Exhale, come back. Inhale, open to the left. Exhale, come back. And inhale, open. As we continue to flow, I want you to be mindful of your lower body. It's your foundation. It's building strength and stability to be able to find this movement through our spine. So our knees should not be moving, our hips should not be moving. Only our spine from mid back up. Find one more time each side. And come back, sweep our hands up. Interlace our fingers. Walk your feet out a little bit wider. So you're definitely wider than hip width apart. Bend our knees, sweep our hands forward and down, keep our chest up. Inhale, reach our hands up, straighten our legs. Exhaling, bringing it down. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bring it down. Inhale, reach up. Exhale. Inhale. Continuing to flow in this slow, controlled movement. Keeping our spine neutral throughout the whole movement. So we're not rounding our back at all. Let's find one more time. And come up. Release our hands to our side. Step our feet in, hip width distance apart. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, walk both feet back. Keep our shoulders over our wrists, lower our knees down to the mat. Release the tops of our feet. So we're in a kneeling plank pose. Lift one foot up off the mat, put it down, lift the other. Continue, option to find no feet on the mat, alternating in a smooth pattern. To be a little bit harder than just lifting and lowering. Lengthening the front of our thighs while we build core stability. Feeling our breath. And put our feet down, sink our hips back, child's pose. Let our head rest down, our elbows. If our head doesn't reach the floor, place a block under our fists underneath our forehead. Feel the length through our glutes, through our low back, through our hamstrings. Then squeezing our knees together, feel the engagement of our lower body. Hug our belly in, start to round our back. Lift our head up off the mat. And then as we move into cat pose, adjust your hands to where you can stay comfortable in your cat. And then on your next inhale, find a flat back. Press your hands into the mat. Lift out of your shoulders so the space between your shoulder blades begins to flatten. Reach your head forward a little bit more, reach your tailbone back, imagining length through your spine. And on our next exhale, rounding our back again, let our head hang. Create a lot more space between our shoulder blades. Feel our spine lift up to the ceiling, our tailbone tuck. Sink our hips back towards our heels, halfway, and hold. Moving through core strength, stabilizing through core strength. Then slowly lower our elbows down. Lower our forehead down, let our hips sink back towards our heels. And when our forehead lands, I want you to relax. Soften into this length through our back. From our shoulder blades all the way down to our tailbone. Squeeze our knees together, hug our belly in, start to round our back. Lift up. When shoulders make it over our wrists, I want you to flatten your back. Find neutral. Lift your spine up between your shoulder blades. Reach your head forward. Reach your tailbone back, finding as much length, but still keeping our joints stacked. Feel our breath. Allowing this to be active and focused. On our next exhale, rounding our back. Lifting our spine up to the ceiling, creating space between the shoulder blades. Tucking our tailbone. And sinking our hips back halfway. Bend our elbows, lower them down halfway. Staying very strong through the front of our body. Maybe feel your elbows press towards each other, engaging the pecs a little bit. Across the front of your chest. Inner thighs are engaged as you squeeze your knees towards each other. And slowly lower down, keeping all that strength across the front of your body. And when your forehead lands, I want you to soften. Squeeze our knees together, hug our bellies in, slowly round up. Moving through cat, and then flatten our back. Reach our head forward so it feels like our ears and our tops of our shoulders are creating a lot of space between each other. Feeling our neck elongate. Feel our breath. Hands pressing into the floor, lifting out of our shoulders. Reaching our tailbone back to elongate our low back. And from here, let's extend our right leg out to the side. Point our toes towards the front of our mat and soften our right hip down. Start to reach our hips back as we extend our heart forward, moving into cow pose through our spine as we reach the hips back. Then slowly come up. Keep that cow pose through your spine. And I want you to listen to your hips and your back. As soon as you lose that curve of your low back, you pause and come back up. Reach our hips back. Tailbones lifting up to the ceiling. And come back up. And one more time. Keeping the curve of our low back. Tailbone lifting up. Slowly take our hips back. And come up. Hike our hip up to the ceiling, our right hip, dragging our leg in, then put our knee down. We're going to rock our hips side to side. Come back to center, extend our left leg out to the side. Toes point forward, we're resting on the inside of our foot, so the outside of our foot lifts up towards the ceiling. This helps keep our ankles stable so that we're not rolling it. Let our left hip soften. Then begin to move into cow pose through our spine. From this cow pose, begin to sink our hips back, keeping our tailbone lifted. Lower back only to a place that you're able to keep that cow pose in the low back. And come back up. And sink your hips back. And come back up. Moving only within your range of motion. And then the next time your hips make it over your knee, hike your left hip up to the ceiling, dragging your left foot in, put your left knee down, rock your hips side to side. Come back to center. Let's walk our knees in together to touch. Then lift our right knee up and back. Cross it over our left leg. Walk our hands back towards our knee and over to the left a little bit. So we're just trying to find an all fours position, just where with our knees crossed. Now I want you to find that cow pose again. Open up your heart. Lift your tailbone up. Keep the curve of your low back. Start to sink your hips back. Now we're stretching through the outer hips. Come back up. Hips over the top of our knees. And then sink our hips back. You can go as far back as grabbing a seat on the floor or on blocks. But I want you to keep that cow pose throughout that entire movement. Coming back up. And then back one more time. Come up. Walk our hands back to center. We're going to unwind our legs and bring our knees together. Lift our left leg, cross it over our right. Sweep our feet out to the side a little bit. Not a lot, just a little bit. Walk our hands back towards our knee and center, so that our spine can be fully aligned and not reaching off to one side. Then find cow pose. And then sink our hips back. Reaching our belly button towards our thighs. Come up. And we're going to repeat 2 more times, nice and slow. Your range of motion, keeping the curve of your low back the entire time. Come back up, walk our hands back to center, unwind our legs, rock our hips side to side. Come back to center, crawl forward to the front of our mat, and then flip over onto our back. Bring your blocks with you as you come. Blocks, towel, blanket, extra rolled up mat, whatever you have today, place it underneath your knees. Extending our legs, turn our palms up, arms extended. Then I want you to make a fist with your hands. Extend your fingers. Make a fist and extend. Make a fist and extend. Bend your elbows, lift your hands, roll out your wrists. You can extend your fingers and move them around with the roll of your wrist if you like. And then reverse the direction. And relax our hands, put them back down on the floor. We're going to soften into Shavasana. Now the props underneath our knees are helping support our low back. Our feet can be out any distance that's comfortable for us. Allows us to soften. especially through the hips. our bodies. Noticing how we feel. And begin to bend our knees one at a time. Roll over to our right side and pause. Slowly pressing ourselves up, finding our way back to a comfortable seat. As we find that comfortable seat, rise up tall through our spine. Feel our shoulders soften down as we let gravity lengthen the top of our shoulders. Feel that mid-back section on the back side of our body. Feel it lift up towards the ceiling. Notice a lift from mid-back allows our hips to tip forward. With this aligned body, let's bring our hands together in front of our heart. Notice where we have to work here. Notice where we're able to let go. This opportunity of finding stability and ease at the same time, we find in many of our postures. Being aware of them, knowing how to use them to our benefit to release tension is our ultimate goal. And this can be applied in everyday life, as well as all of our fun activities and our workouts. Take all that as a gift to place in our heart to take with us as we move. Namaste.